Welcome to More Than Missionary. I'm Ashley.
I'm Christina.
Thanks for joining us today. I guess I'm leading today.
You are.
This feels really weird. I don't know if I like this.
Yes. No, I'm excited. Now, you were talking before this that you wanted to do a list of some sorts. And I pretty much just said, go for it. Do what you want to do. I'm going to have a lot of questions, though, because I don't know what your list is going to entail. And when we talk about lists, Ashley, why don't you take it from here?
Okay, so basically I wanted to do an episode about the list that I have. I started doing this in the beginning of this year when I became single. Mm-hmm. And I decided, you know what, I had overlooked a lot of things in my past relationships and things that I wanted in a partner. And I realized, in doing that and not having a clear view of what I really wanted, I didn't even know how to work towards that myself.
Okay.
So, what does that mean? I think we all look at things from somewhat of the same perspective. I think we all kind of want somebody who's kind.
Right.
We all want somebody who's
right.
Good-hearted.
Your basic, I want to be respected.
Yes.
I want somebody to be kind and patient with me. And
but then there's things that I realize that, oh, they didn't have this. And maybe that's something I want, but is that something that I really can go without?
Yeah.
So us both being witchy bitches, we know how important manifestation is. And I guess to some degree this is a manifestation, not for my partner, but for myself. Mm-hmm. So these are all things that I'm expecting my partner to have. Mm-hmm. And if they don't have that thing, for them to be actively working towards it. This list might seem egregious at times.
Yeah, I may have questions.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having a list for a person. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's also important that we, for me, I'm I don't want to not humanize the person with a list.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to be doing that. I'm just that's my own anxiety about it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to
I'm going to go through, a lot of I don't want to share everything that's on my list.
What do you mean? What do you mean you don't want to share everything on your list, Ashley?
I will say that I am a dark romance girly, so maybe some of y'all can relate. I don't think there's actually anything really on here that I'm too scared of anybody.
And that's really...
I will say, I don't know what's on this list, but it is detailed, folks.
Oh, this
is a very detailed list. I'm very excited to hear this list.
I have it broken down in 2 categories. It's personality and hobbies. And as you can see, the hobbies are very small. It's very important for me to have a partner who has their own hobbies. But there are some things that I would just genuinely like for us to have in common for long term. We'll start with the easy ones, which is obviously you can see
the ones that you kind of can list off the top of your head.
Yeah. So personality, kind, thoughtful, wise, understanding. Family-oriented / creates healthy family relationships. It's very important to me because I'm going through all that right now.
Yeah.
Openness to learn new things. My best friend. Someone who's curious, primal, gentleman, witty, goofy, sense of humor, non-judgmental, caring / caregiver, clean, organized, protective, obsessed with me, self-aware, normal to high sex drive, stylish, very hygienic, can tell when I need validation and goes above and beyond to meet those needs.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew you were going to stop me at this one. I knew you were going to stop me at this one.
Okay, so you have on there, say again?
Can tell when I need validation and goes above and beyond to meet those needs.
Can you go a little bit deeper into can tell when I need validation?
Yes. So, I'm a girly that is very neurospicy.
Okay.
And I've been through a little bit of relationship trauma.
Yes.
So I feel like I constantly need reassurance from my partner that I'm wanted there, that you want my presence, that you want my energy.
Okay.
I'll be hanging out with somebody and then hour 2 or 3 and I'm like, are you sure you still want me here? Like, are you sure? Like, are you sure we're still vibing? Like, even if we are vibing and I know we're vibing, like, I get really insecure in my head. Like, are you sure you want me around? Do you know what I mean? I have no problem verbalizing that either.
I was gonna say, I was like, so, okay, like, upon you saying that, like, my brain immediately went to, I'm like, well, how can somebody know that you need validation unless, like, you're asking, right?
Yeah,
and like verbalizing and communicating to them that you need that validation.
I feel like I get annoying with it too, because I will constantly ask, like, are you sure you still want me here? Like, are you good with me being here? And so just constantly, like, reaffirming, like, yeah, I want you here. Like, I'm happy. Like, they make me feel reassured.
Okay.
That, like, I'm wanted.
Okay. No, that's fair.
I also have really bad body dysmorphia. As you know, like, used to be very heavy. And so sometimes, like, I get very insecure about how I look. I have really bad body dysmorphia days where I look in the mirror and all I can see is that girl that was almost 300 pounds. And I get a little panicky and in my head about it. So when my partner reassures me, like, because those are the days I feel like I dress up the most. I like, today I'm very casual, but I feel like you see me out and about. I'm very, I don't know, I'm very stylish.
You are very stylish. No, I do get, no, I mean, I think it's a lovely quality about you that you're like, you like go the effort to do it. Like, I am very lazy in that department. So I'm like, oh, like, whatever. I'm like, damn, her makeup looks good today. Like,
but I think it's that insecurity.
I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely a sense of like that. I think that's a lot of women. I myself included. Like, there are obviously there, you know, not to the degree of like full body dysmorphia, just because I don't share the same experiences as you. But like, when you're feeling insecure about yourself, about regardless of what it is, and you're like looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, okay, well, I can't go out like this. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm not comfortable going out into the world how I'm.
So there are days
right
that like I get like extra made up.
Okay.
For no reason. Like, we'll be going to the grocery store and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to wear my fishnets and mini skirt and like beat my full face for no damn reason. But it really is just because like that day I might be having a really bad body dysmorphia day, and that's the only way I know how to handle it is
it's almost like armor, like going out into the world.
So I go one of two directions. I either really get myself dressed up so that I can like show myself like, no, you're not that insecure 300-pound girl anymore. Like, you're this new person that you've created for yourself. So there's those times where I try to overpower it with that, and then there's other days where like I let it eat me and like I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do anything. But the only way I know how to push on, like if I have to go to work, is like I get myself extra stylish. I really think about my outfit. I put purpose in like
the look good, feel good.
Yes.
Good
And I put like, because I know how to style my own body shape. Like even when I was heavier, I did the same thing. I was trying to be really stylish to hide, you know, what else was going on underneath the clothes. So it's kind of one of those things, like that's my way of coping. And so if my partner notices like she's really dolled up today, like there's probably a reason why.
That's fair. Okay.
Being able to gas me up a little bit and like be like, oh my God, you look really nice today or whatever. Yeah. I had this experience even with like my cousin when we were going to Disney World. We were planning to get all dressed up and stuff, and I dressed up as Shigo, and I was wearing like a jumpsuit that was like tight to my body.
I think I saw a picture of that, and it was like, you look so cute though. I remember seeing him be like, yes, I'm like, she gives some mad Shigo vibes. Like,
well, so that morning I was having like the worst body dysmorphia. Like I was crying. Like I just was like, I don't know what the point is. Like I work out so hard. I work so hard. I just don't see the progress. And like I got really down and upset at myself. And, you know, like I was with my cousin and she knew exactly what I needed. She was just like, do you just need some time? We can go later. And she was like really reassuring of, you've changed. She knew how to like gas me up. Yeah. But also like nurture those feelings. Yeah. So I have no problem like being like telling people like I'm just having a really bad body dysmorphia
I think
day.
You know what, then that is absolutely so. The fact that you're that self-aware of yourself and you know yourself well enough to be like, I know I need more like verbal validation, and like I love that you have that on that
not
list.
even just verbal, like I need the like physical touch. Like I need somebody to come up around me and
would you say that you're like, okay, like the concept of a love language, right?
Ooh, that's on there too.
Oh, Oh,
do you want to wait or do you want to get into it?
Based off of the things that you've just said now about what I think your love language is, but I will wait till you get to that.
So I do have on here, uses all 5 love languages to show his love for me.
Okay. I love attention. Yeah. I am 100% a fucking brat. I am a brat. Like, and it doesn't need to be like constant attention, but I think it goes back to that reassurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of just like, I need to text throughout the day. I'm busy. Like, I don't want to be entertaining you all day long. You know, sprinkle some text messages in there every now and then.
Oh, yeah. I tell my husband all the time. Sometimes I'm really blunt with him because, like, I also have, like, I like attention. Like, it's like, you kind of know what you got going on. You know what I mean? Like, even through, our insecurities that we deal with, at the same time, I'm also like, oh, I'm kind of hot. Like, you know what I mean? When you're having a good day, you're like, I'm kind of fucking hot. Like, if I'm dressed up and I'm, like, looking at my husband, I'm like, how do I look? like I'm fishing for a compliment and I really want your validation right now. Yeah. And it's like sometimes you got to ask for it. And hopefully, Gabe's gotten to a point with, him and we've been together for quite some time. So he's kind of picked up on those behaviors.
I feel like he's really good at gassing.
At what? At gassing people up? Yes, he is. He is literally. I thought for a second I thought you said gaslighting. I was like, oh.
No, let's make this very clear. Gabe does not gaslight anybody.
No, he's a very sweet man.
He's a very gentle soul. I was like, I have not experienced that. I'm so sorry.
I love how you didn't even disregard me.
I was like, no, you're valid in your experience.
Like, what did he do? Let's talk about it.
No, but he is very much like a hype man. Like, especially if we're going out and drinking or something like that, if we're in a group setting, he's like the guy that's gonna hype everybody up to go out. Like, he loves to gas people up. He loves like giving out compliments and like just love to people, and it's never they're so great because they're not superficial compliments all the time. No. Like, they're very like
even
deep
his little text
thoughted,
message
well
to
thought out. Yeah,
starting our podcast, he's like,
he's
he was like,
he goes, he's like, go off queens, and then he corrected himself and was like, goddesses. They're like, he is a very thoughtful individual in that way. So I mean I do love that you have. By the way, I love that you have on your list, like, uses all 5 of those love languages. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any one person out there that's like, I'm only physical touch, or I'm only words of affirmation, or I'm only gifts of service, or whatever. Everybody is a little bit of everything. I think most people will like lean towards more love languages than others, right? Like, I love physical touch and words of affirmation. Those are my big 2, but I love to give gifts. Like, I like, all right, it's the holidays right now, and like, I freaking love buying people presents and giving to them. Like, I get excited and I just want to give it to them right away, but I like hide all the presents.
I just realized I forgot your Christmas gift at home.
Girl, you didn't need to give me a Christmas gift.
It was something really small and stupid. It was something that I saw and I was just like, oh, Christina has to have this. And I was like, oh, I'm going to bring it to her. And I right when you said that, I was like, I forgot her stupid little knick-knack thing that I got you for Christmas.
Oh, that's so sweet. I don't have a gift, but I do have.
I'm not the type. I was literally just about to say I love gift giving too, but I freaking hate the holidays because
I have to it's, you know what? I haven't finished up my holiday shopping, so that's partially why. So my husband and I, we do a really weird holiday card every year, and this is our 6th year in a row doing it, and I was like, oh, I gotta give one to Ashley. So we do these like unhinged holiday cards, and they've gotten like more weird and unhinged as the years have gone on, and I would say this year's is probably the most unhinged. So
I will use it for the thumbnail for this.
We absolutely can use it.
We'll use the PDF for our thumbnail.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, we will. I do want everybody to see it. It is it's a Star Wars themed one. Not like listen, like, we do not own anything regarding Star Wars, and that is not, we do not own any rights to Star Wars, but we do have inspirational. It is inspired by Star Wars, and it
Disclaimer,
always has.
We do not own the trademark of Star Wars.
We do not, but we do have. Our card this year. My husband wanted to pick the theme, so he was like, "Ooh, let's do like space lightsaber battles with our cats." So it's like a Star Wars poster with really poorly photoshopped cats onto it, and us. So that's that's what we have this year. And I'm okay saying that on the pod right now because I know this isn't going to be released until after everybody gets their cards. So it's fine.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Okay, anyway, sorry. We totally got sidetracked. I'm sorry. Please continue on with your lovely list.
Ambitious, strategic. I can safely and comfortably submit because he safely and comfortably leads and is trustworthy.
Ooh, okay.
I
like
actually
that.
got that from To Be Better.
You know what? That is so important, especially in like in all settings. But like, of course, my brain is going towards like the
masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah.
That honestly, I really like that phrasing of that. So I may have to adopt that. Particularly perhaps in the bedroom as well. But I do think it does relate to that.
No, it really does, because when I am with a partner, I prefer a more dominant and submissive relationship in general, not just in the bedroom. Like, I prefer my person to kind of take ownership and
like
be able to lead.
Kind of lead the pack in a lot of ways. Yeah, I feel that.
I like to be able to turn my brain off and be able to just comfortably submit.
Yeah, and let somebody else kind of just do the driving. Follow, and that's okay. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So somebody that's hardworking, willing to educate others when asked of. That one was really big for me. I really enjoy when somebody is very knowledgeable in something and they can educate me without making me feel stupid. I would never want to be with a partner that, like, when somebody didn't know something, just be like, oh, well, that person's really fucking ignorant. And it's or you could, you could, like, educate them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. No, I like that. I think that goes back to that idea of like being patient and
open
and open. Yeah, for sure.
Communicative and understands different forms of communication, verbal and nonverbal.
Yes.
Always does aftercare.
Oh my god.
That is such a big one.
Oh my god. Okay.
So these are the things of aftercare that, like, I have to have. So checking in right away, and after all the adrenaline wears off.
So, like, right away, and then, because sometimes you're fine, like, as soon as everything's, like, done.
Yeah.
But then the dust will settle a little bit.
Yeah.
15,
and then
20 minutes, and
then
you start processing
what just happened. Yeah.
And, like, I need a double check-in.
I think that's so fair. I think there is such a lack of people in general, right? But I think in regards to what you're saying, like if you're having a male partner in that regards, that they don't check in. Like it's not a priority. I don't know if it's necessarily like not a priority. It's such like society has not taught.
Oh no. And you know what's funny is I see it more when I talk to people more in heterosexual couples than I do in any other sexual relationship.
Yeah,
do you openly talk about like aftercare and sex with other friends where you're just like, where you can kind of notice that it's more predominant?
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say that a handful of my friends, like we have talked about it, but it hasn't been like an in-depth conversation about it. And the people, I feel like my scope of it is heterosexual couples, but I can't like say that it's like, oh yeah, like the majority is heterosexual. Like I don't have, I think, enough of like a database to be able to be like confirm or deny whether that's true or not. Yeah. But yeah, like my scope of what I have seen has been in heterosexual relationships, but
and aftercare is basically like non-existent.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think it's like a common thing that a lot of women in heterosexual relationships are frustrated about the lack of aftercare in heterosexual relationships.
Especially the ones that read.
Yeah, especially us, naughty, smutty book girlies. It is frustrating because it's just like not taught. It's not taught to people about what aftercare is supposed to look like.
No, it's so funny too because I was watching a documentary yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday? Whenever it was. About the porn industry and like how aftercare is such a huge thing. I wish I would like film that part. I wish they would film the part of aftercare that, like, these male pornographers do for the females, because I guess, like, they treat them like goddesses. Like, they are very kind to them.
Yeah.
Do the aftercare stuff for them.
Especially because it's such a professional setting when you're in that you, like, you should be doing that. Like, it's already a very nuanced and sensitive area of professionalism that you have to have that. Yeah. You have to have that. Like, even in,
but that's not what sells.
What? No. But you know what? Actually, there's like, there are like porn videos that I actually love where it's actually, they interview the people before they go into it. And I'm not kidding. It is fascinating to watch. Like, I'm here for the story.
Okay, like, send me the links though.
I will send you the links. But I remember like seeing it and was like, I really like that. It very much humanizes these individuals.
Oh, for sure.
Prior to like them, doing their job. And I'm like, I really appreciate that. I really like that. And they talk about like, this is our 4th or 5th scene that we've done together. And, I love working with this person. They're so kind and they're so professional. And, like, they talk about it and you're like, oh, wow, like, that's amazing. Like, it gives you kind of a sneak peek behind the curtain of how all of it is done and made. At least when it's, like, in not like an at-home video. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure some of those do, but, like, I'm talking about high-quality porn videos that you see, like, on the internet.
I have, like, an allergy thing going on.
That's okay. I feel like the last time we recorded, I was having allergy issues, and now you're having allergy issues.
The weather's been so weird here in Chicago.
It has. And it also doesn't help that you've been around, like, because I'm pretty sure you're allergic to cats, right?
Oh, yeah, and I've been around all the cats recently.
And now you're around 2 more cats, because I have 2 cats.
And I'm a weirdo, and I, like, don't really take medicine.
Yeah.
Like, I've drinking some tea and stuff and, like, tried to build my immune system that way, but, like, I just don't really do... I don't know why.
I'm a wuss. I will literally, like, the moment I start sneezing, I'm like, I must take allergy medication because I have been through, I feel like I am permanently just dealing with allergies year round. And so I'm like, I don't have time for all of this all the time. So
I know, and I feel
I have no problem taking Benadryl in the middle of the day where I'm like, if I need it, I need it. And I'm sorry if I just get sleepy and it is what it is. I just won't drive the car.
Because you're like not breathing. Like you're not
breathing. And
you're not getting good quality air, so you're not capable of thinking
clearly. Like I feel very clouded. Yeah. Ugh, it's so frustrating. So add that to your list, like a man that knows how to take care of your allergies.
Yeah.
Without having to take antihistamine.
Okay, so the other part of aftercare was checking my body for marks or bruises that need attention, making sure I'm comfortable, and then washcloth cleansing or bathing, showering if we get sweaty.
Okay, there is something so intimate and special about like showering with a partner or like bathing a partner.
Yeah.
I really actually love to do that. I love the idea of like showering together but in a non-sexual way. Like I love the intimacy of showering together. Like I like being able to wash the other person. Like I really do. And then I just like to be held. Like I like to be held under the warm water and hugged in a non-sexual way in the shower.
Yeah, it's really like I don't know.
It's so soothing.
It is.
It literally is very centering. Like there have been days where I've had really bad anxiety and I've done that too. And it really does like calm my nervous system down. And I'm like, I feel so much better, So the fact that that's a part of your aftercare list too, I mean, I think that's so on the money with what should be on that list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the big one for me too.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel gross and lay there.
I also don't want to feel gross and lay there. Be like, and we're laying in each other's juices.
Yeah. No thanks. I'm a clean girly. I'm not trying to. No, thank you.
I don't really want a UTI or yeast infection. Thank you very much.
I've gotten them twice.
Oh, I've had it twice in my life, and
oh my goodness,
brutal.
They're terrible. The second time, I could tell right away what it was, and I just got the over-the-counter stuff and like purged my system, drank a bunch of like cranberry juice.
Yeah, it's like once you go through a shit show the first time, then you know what to do. This, you're like, I'm not letting that happen again.
Like a full herbal cleanse where all I was drinking was like herbal teas and juices,
just like flushing it out of your
flushing
system.
everything out.
I remember when I got my first UTI and I like didn't know it was a UTI. I was just like, oh, like that's weird. I had work and I used to be a hostess at a restaurant, so I'm standing all day when I was doing that. So I'd be like at work in a shift and I'm like hunched over the hostess table. Like I'm like, I feel like I constantly have to pee, but it hurts to pee. Mm-hmm. And I have to stand up and work and have a really nice smile on my face because I'm like hostessing at a restaurant. It was terrible. Never made that mistake again. Immediately the second time it happened, I like immediately realized what it was. I was like, to the doctor. I'm getting the over-the-counter stuff. I'm not fucking around this time. Mm-hmm.
I got them from condoms.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I've never
well, that's what they say. Like you're supposed to pee after sex. Right?
Yeah.
So like,
but they were like I've always tried to be more organic, I guess.
Okay, so you weren't using latex ones. You were using. Was it?
So it was like the 2 times where I was just like, oh, they were just like Trojan condoms. I don't know what they were. Where it was like my partner just like pulled them out and. Okay. They weren't what I normally like buy, and I was like, okay, what? Because I buy mine like online, and like I order my condoms online. Okay. From like this company that's like, I don't know. I'll link it in the show notes.
Link it in the
show notes. I'm honestly actually so if anybody wants to do the research for me, I am looking for a new condom. I'm starting to not like the ones that I've been using for the last like several years of my life, just because they dry me out.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of... Okay, listen, like, use what you gotta use to be protected, right? But, like, I hated using condoms. Like, I did not, like, I understand why people need to use them. It's important. You're married, that's different. And yeah, I'm married, like, I have...
Your girl's not married, your girl don't got a ring, so I need condoms.
Okay. I have an IUD. Like I was like, I'm good, you know. But
so I'm weird about that. I won't have sex with anyone without a condom until I have a ring on my finger.
Listen, that is so fair. That is so fair. I had actually a rule for myself where it was like I wouldn't let anybody like finish inside me until I was married, and like that was really important to me. And so I mean that I feel like that's a very fair thing, and is that one on your list?
Oh well, I mean like that.
It goes without saying. Yeah, that goes without saying. Okay, got it. Okay.
If you don't respect me enough to like not wear a condom, then I don't. There's no reason for us to be physical in any sense. That's something else we could go into if you wanted to. Is like sexual contracts.
Oh yeah, I don't listen. I would love to talk about that. I need to do probably
because that's even more. Like before all like if I'm gonna be so this is like my list for a person.
Yeah,
my partner, but I do have like a separate contracting list of things that like they're capable.
I think you know what that's a really direct and black and white way to look at what you are comfortable and not comfortable with in a bedroom setting, and
I think those things change all the power over time.
To you, that you are like putting that down on paper and being like, I'm cool with these things and I'm not cool with these things. And, you know, like I know like some basic things about sexual contracts, but I don't know like enough about them to like, I don't know like all the clauses and stuff. I know that it's like a do and don't list and
many different ways to go about it. I usually let the dom lead.
Yeah.
On that. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
However they want to present it. So I've had some doms present it to me as like, you know, check mark the things that like you want, check mark, or and then like X out the things that you absolutely don't want.
Yeah.
What are things that are not on this list that you'd be interested? These are things that are very important to me? Are these things that you're going to be able to provide? Like and then I've had other doms where it's like a number scale of like I feel comfortable with this on a 1 to 5.
Okay.
Like 1 being you don't want it at all, 5 being like you can't live without it, like in your So there's many different ways to
look at that. I would love to do an episode on that. I'd love to hear more about that.
Okay, we did Aftercare.
Yes.
Okay, so this one is like kind of important to me because this is something that I do to show my love to people and like I don't know, remembers
or writes down, because I have a terrible memory, as you know. I have a goldfish memory. I do. It's the worst. And, like, not an actual goldfish. I mean, like, the chip. Like, it's just, it's non-existent. The memory is not there.
It's a cracker.
It's
okay?
a cracker.
I have a cracker of a memory.
It's so bad. So remembers or writes down things that he feels are important about me that help him understand how I perceive love when I don't have the words.
Interesting. So are these things that you... Okay, so these are things that he feels about you that you would want him to write down.
Or just remember.
Or remember about you so he can verbalize them to you when you're not feeling like when you're, like, not feeling good that day, or like a validation.
Kinda, yeah. It can be validation, or, like, I have a tendency when I'm overwhelmed that I shut down. That's actually, like, my go-to. Even when I'm with a partner and I'm building trust, I tend to just shut down because of just, like, relationship abuse.
Yeah.
Of, like, oh, I hate that I'm like this. I started listening to another podcast, Secondhand Therapy, and they were talking about how, like, every time they talk about trauma or anything negative, they laugh or they smile.
Okay, you know what's so funny that you bring that up? So you just giggled, right? And I'm like, I do that too. It's like laugh at your pain kind of thing, but it's a coping mechanism.
It is?
It's a coping mechanism to help you. It's not to minimize your experience, but it helps you process it, because it's at the end of the day, you can't do anything to change it. Yeah. And so, like, it, like, is a bit pressure relieving.
It makes it more comfortable to talk about when it's like...
Okay, like, let me tell you something. When, this is personal, but I'm just going to share it anyway. When I had somebody very, very close in my life who had gotten divorced in my family, and when it was time, and this person deals with their trauma the same way I deal with my trauma, so, like, they laugh, right? And so, like, when shitty things happen, I'll reach out and send them something funny. Well, it was like the day of the divorce in court, and I knew they needed it. Like, I knew that it was okay to send to them, but when it was their divorce date, I sent a GIF on over text, and it was like the Yu-Gi-Oh! It was like Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was him putting down a card, and so, like, in the show, it's like duel. It's like that. So, like, instead of it being that, it was like divorce, and I sent it to them, and, like, they thought it was fucking hilarious. But it's like, it was like that way. It was like partially trauma bonding, but also. But also because it was like, I knew it was going to make them laugh, and I knew that that's how they deal with their trauma, and that's how I deal with my trauma, and a lot of people do it that way. I think it's okay to have a coping skill and coping mechanism that is that, especially if it's about your own shit going on.
I'm trying to be better about that, though, because...
My therapist calls me out for that, too,
Yeah, it's like you minimizing.
It is like a sense of minimizing. But that's why I feel like when you create space, okay, like, I'm in therapy, you're in therapy, right? And so I feel like it's when you're able to have that space to be able to talk about those things, like, I think deep down, like, we know that it's not something to minimize, right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't know, I would say cut yourself some slack. I cut myself slack. I laugh about my own trauma all the time. It's just... you just do it, and it's like you do it because some days you're gonna be good and you can seriously talk about those things and process them, and then there's days where you don't have enough spoons that day to be able to deal with it, so you laugh about it, and it's laugh at my pain, right? It's I totally get that. Okay, wait, go back to what that...
Okay, so it was remembers or writes things down that writes down things that he feels are important about me that help him understand how I perceive love when I don't have the words.
Can you kind of go into a little bit more that last half of it? Like, I understand the first half, but the last half kind of is confusing me a little bit.
It is kind of going back to, like, that validation stuff too, to some degree, but I tend to shut down because I'm really bad at asking for my wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to go do something with you, and I know it's maybe not something that you
would prefer to do or something that you would enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
like, I will shut down.
Oh, I'm the same way. Like, I'm like, if I want you to do something and you're not excited to do it,
Yeah.
but you're doing it because, like, you just...
Or you, like, hint at it and you're like, oh, I kind of would love to do this. And then, like, there's no action. I'm never mentioning it again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's it.
I'm like, and I was rejected. It is an absolute sense of rejection to, like, have that happen.
Even when it's, like, not a thought, when they're not, like, fully listening, you know? Like, I think that's, like, what it is because, like, when people will say, like, things as, like, an afterthought, like, oh, I really would like that. Like, I remember. I'm like, okay, write that down. The best way I can explain it is, like, okay, so, my best friend really wanted a Juice WRLD sweater. And she's like, yeah, my man was going to buy me one. And, like, I don't know. He said that he was going to, and then he just didn't. I, like, remembered it. And so I was like, okay, so I wrote it down and, like, because I write down, all of my friends, you have a fucking notepad. Like,
I love that.
Everybody has a fucking, in my notes, like, app, like, everybody has a fucking pad. So, like, if anybody were to hack into, like, my MacBook, like, I'd be fucked. Like, I just everybody's shit would be out. Like, it wouldn't. It's not even secrets. Like, you can trust me with a secret because, like, bitch probably don't remember. Like, I'm never gonna write that down. But, like, things that I, like, feel like I should remember about somebody, like, I have written down. Just because, like, that shit makes me feel hella special. So, like, I try to do that for other people, is make them feel special.
Now I want to know what's on my list.
Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Like, I have in there, like, some of the witchy shit that you're into.
Oh, I love that.
Actually, like, your Christmas gift or part of your Christmas gift was about, like, what you were for Halloween, that you like Bob Ross.
Stop.
So
my God.
And then I remember you had the Bob Ross chia pet or whatever, and then you didn't bring it. So then I was like, okay, really likes Bob Ross.
Really likes Bob Ross. Let me tell you something. If anybody's going to have a note page about me and my personality, I really hope it's going to have she likes Bob Ross on there. Like, you have no idea the temptation that I've had for the last, like, 2.5-3 years of wanting a Bob Ross tattoo. But I'm like, okay, I have a genuine fear of getting a Bob Ross tattoo. Here's why. I am so scared that one day some nefarious, crappy fact about Bob Ross will get put out into the world. Like, I don't think that that's the case. I would be devastated. I think the majority of Americans would be devastated about that. But then I'd be like, oh, now I have a shitty person tattooed on me. Or, like, I have, like, a fear of that happening. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if maybe I should get a tattoo of Bob Ross.
I don't really...
He seems like a very sweet and innocent man. And, like, I watched that documentary that was, I don't remember, like, what streaming service it was on. Was it Netflix? Yeah. I watched the documentary, and I was, like, genuinely nervous to watch this documentary because I was like, if my view of Bob Ross is tainted from this, I'm going to be so upset. Like, I love him so much.
So here's where I kind of disagree with that, like what we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. He's human.
No, he is. He is.
And, like, you, like, I think you and I have had this conversation. I used to be kind of a piece of shit human being. Like,
wow, I kind of sucked.
Yeah, like, I look back all the time, like, whoa, I sucked. Like,
oh, I look back at how I was when I was, like, a high schooler, and I was like, oh, I would find me very annoying, too. Like, that, you know what? There was a lot of things that makes sense now.
So I think to some degree, like, when people are getting canceled over shit all the time, I'm like, yeah, maybe that's who they were in 2010. Maybe. Like, but I can tell you even from a year ago, I've changed and grown so much. Like, I don't even recognize the person I was a year ago.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I feel that. I have had a lot of insane things happen within the last, I would say, well, a lot of people because of the pandemic too, but, like, in the last 3 years that have just turned my world upside down and sideways, and having to navigate that, and very much having some uncomfortable growing pains, to say the least.
So, girls, get that Bob Ross tattoo.
Maybe I will. You know what? I will get a Bob Ross tattoo. I'm very excited about the tattoo that I'm getting soon, though. At the end of the month, I know that's gonna be.
Let's talk about that in our mini-sode for 20.
Yes. Oh my God, we're absolutely doing that. Okay. Please continue.
Okay,
on
so
with this
are we
list.
clear on that one then?
Yes, I
Okay.
think yes.
Can manage money well and knows how to make his money work for him.
Okay. Yeah, make it work, honey.
Challenges me and my thinking and is always respectful of my opinion and wants to be just as challenged.
I like that. That is a good one to have on your list.
Supports me and my dreams to his full extent. Does his fair share of house cleaning.
Oh,
Likes things to be as clean as I do.
I'm snapping my fingers for that one.
Here's where that kind of also gets a little muddy and gray.
Okay.
I do want a very traditional marriage.
Okay. When you say traditional, do you mean like
Blue and pink rolls.
Okay,
Blue
got
and
it.
pink jobs.
Okay.
So blue jobs are like taking out the trash.
You know what? That's very fair. Like my husband and I, like, listen, we share a lot of responsibilities in the house, but there are things that I, as like a more feminine individual and more classic cultural roles of what that entails, I do enjoy a lot of it. I love cooking. I love cooking for the both of us. You know, my husband will do, he cleans the cat litter boxes. He will absolutely, we don't have a lawn, but if we did, he would be mowing it. It's not going to be me, I'll tell you what. But but absolutely, we do share like the cleaning aspect. And he actually is a good cook, but if he cooks, it's very manly cooking. It's like I'm cooking a steak or a burger or, things like that. So I do understand that, and there is definitely a comfortability with having those roles.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, it is important to have, for us at least, we got a big fit. We try our best to do 50-50 dynamics within the house. We don't have kids right now, so that'll probably change in the future.
Yeah.
But right now, it is very 50-50. And I'm very lucky that there is some role reversal. He does almost all of our laundry on a consistent basis. Like, he will do the laundry and fold it. And I'll tell you what, that is, that's a big help. And he does a lot of the dishes. If I'm cooking, he's cleaning. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of have that dynamic. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Or what is your outlook on it?
When dating,
okay,
I want them to just be clean. Do your thing.
Do your thing. Boo thing.
Once it gets to a position where we're not necessarily maybe married, but we live together. That's like, I find if you're
domestic,
if you're living a domestic partnership, once that sets in, I will be working less.
That's fair. I do have like a desire, like, okay, when we have kids and stuff, like I want to kind of be like, there's a deep desire to be like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom too. Like
if I'm living with you, like it's because you're gonna add. I can live on my own.
Yeah. Like what are you adding to the
life.
table? What are you adding to the table? Yeah.
I'm gonna be working less to be taking care of both of us now.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like
you don't mind being like the home taker,
correct.
Like the home taker who takes care of the home in its entirety. And let me tell you something, like. I grew up in a household like that. My mom was the caretaker of our home. She took care of everything. I
genuinely like doing it too.
Yeah, and it is like there is a lot of gratifying accomplishments with that. Unfortunately, because of the society we live in, I think it's changing, but there is like a stigma with like being a stay-at-home caretaker and being like, well, that's not that ambitious and blah, 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 blah. I don't agree with that. I think a lot of people.
Because I think I'm overly ambitious.
Yeah, like you are. Like you're definitely a go-getter. You do a lot. But yes, like the idea of like being more at home and being able to be that caretaker at home is like a very appealing lifestyle. I absolutely love that. So keep going with your list.
That was part 1 of my list here on More Than Missionary. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week for part 2.